What's going on, everyone? It's Mike back again. You'll see I'm on my own. There is a reason for that. Me and John have literally just recorded a video just before his little one goes to bed, and then there's been some breaking news. Apparently, Douglas Luiz is all but done signing for Everton. I don't know the source. They've got 100,000 followers, and the Juventus fans forum has also retweeted it as well. So it looks like Douglas Luiz may well become an Everton player. Looks like we have beaten various other teams to his signing. Look, I don't know how true this is, but Douglas Luiz, literally in the video we've just done, was a player that me and John were saying we love to sign, but we don't think it could happen. So there you go. Everton have also been linked with Thomas Soucek today for around £12 million. A player scored 9 goals last season in, I think it was 30 starts for West Ham. Certainly a player I'm not against. So, it's been a bit wild hour, to be honest, to be an Everton fan. Literally in the video, so we've done a debrief, which I'm not going to release because literally we both basically dismissed Douglas Luiz. But it looks like it could happen. It looks like it could happen. But I wanted to talk about the game last night. Me and John were talking about the pros and the cons, and there's a lot of people with their heads falling off about the game last night. And in the video we did discuss various things that happened. But yeah, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to add this video to that video. Right. I'll see you there with John. Just ignore the Douglas Luiz bit. Alright, keep smiling. Up toughies. What's going on, everyone? It's Mike, it's John. Back again. John was adjusting himself, tucking it into his sock by the looks of it. We continue to be sponsored by Flyers Indoor Golf. I tell you what, mate, by the way. So Matt sent me a picture of the... So for the people who are parking, you're actually going to get like a parking card, like a season ticket card, plastic card. They look fantastic. So the idea that me and John have got is around a call-in, which will be on a different platform. But as part of the platform offering, I'm thinking about having these cards made with different discounts for local places in Liverpool. So Flyers will be in there and various places. You'll be able to flash your card and get a little discount on the Blue Boys network. Sounds good to me. What about you?
I don't understand it.
Yeah, don't you worry. It's like a blue light card, but for Blue Boys Network. Anyway, make sure you get over to Flyers. The website and link is in the description below. Matt's fantastic, taking bookings now for Christmas parties and everything as well, so get on it. John, right, it's the debrief, but it's also the rumour show, the news show, what's going on. And look, we've been linked with more players today. Now, what's your take on Soucek, first of all?
Well, I mean, that's a link that's been going on for quite a while, hasn't it? £12 million for a 30-year-old. Listen, not bad business. David Moyes knows him. He knows David Moyes. Is he the sort of midfielder we need? Probably not. But listen, again, I said to you before we went on air, it's just link after link after link and inquiry after inquiry after inquiry. Not getting anywhere. If rumours are to be believed, we seen last night that Everton have pulled out of the deal for, what his name? The fella from Juventus who we've been linked with, played for Villa.
Yeah. Calcentric. Yeah, I know who you're on about. Conceição. Yeah, that's it.
No, the one we've been linked with for a couple of days. Who? Played for Villa and then was at Juventus.
Oh, Douglas Luiz.
Yeah, so apparently, I mean, there was only one report, but apparently David Moyes has now cooled interest on him and he's not going to pursue a deal for Douglas Luiz. And as I said before, it's all right being linked with these people, and it's another link today. I know we're going to get onto it. But we just don't need actions, mate. We need words. We need something to be done. Because I know you were a bit more laid back than me about bringing a right winger in and a central midfielder in. You said you wanted them before we go to America. And personally speaking, mate, I don't think we're going to get them in. And you said if that's the case, then you'll probably start to get a squeaky bum as well. So I'm sick of seeing on social media and the odd things that me and you get sent of Everton have inquired, Everton are linked, as well as West Ham and someone else. Do something about it. We need to start bringing players in. And I know people are going to say, well, there's still 4.5 weeks to go before the season starts. You're getting a lot of teams strengthening now and they're in talks with players. And for the amount of bodies that we need in, we need the ball rolling. Yes, we've brought Alcaraz back as a permanent sign and we've brought Barry in. Don't think he's trained with the first team squad yet. Jordan Pickford was back the other day and Dyer was back. I expect to see them Saturday. But their faces, we know. We need fresh faces. We need a different voice in the dressing room. We need things and we need players in to freshen the squad up. And at the minute, it just seems like it's gone flat on its face with the transfer movement that Everton should be doing by now.
Yeah, so I wanted Everton to go into America against Premier League teams with at least 10 of your 11 starting players, if you get what I mean. You know, and if that means it's Jordan Pickford in goal, O'Brien at right back, Branthwaite, Tarkowski, Mikalenko. I think we need a central midfielder, so I'll stand by that. And, you know, a winger, new striker, whatever it looked like. But I wanted the majority of the team that's going to play week in, week out to almost be there, be ready, and to go into those games, because those are the players that need to be hitting the ground running when it comes to Leeds away and it comes to Brighton at home and all of those fixtures that we've got. You know, people have said, it come out on social media, that I think Everton have the 5th toughest first 6 games of the season. So you need to run into those games because it's important for where Everton finish and the aspirations of the board, aspirations of David Moyes and various other things. So if we do not have a centre midfielder and a right winger that are going to be starting more games than not in the first 11, I absolutely will be disappointed. And, you know, to talk about some of the rumours, you know, we've been linked again today with Samu Lino, Atletico Madrid. He didn't have a great season last season, by all accounts. I think it was 31 games, 3 goals, 4 assists. You're seeing players that aren't linked with other teams. And actually, your players at Everton, in my opinion, should be going after. Your James McAtees and your whoever else. They're all being linked with other teams. So Everton clearly aren't moving quick enough because, you know, these players could have been bought in at some point or contact could have been made or something. So, look, we don't know what's going on behind the scenes, and I quite like that. But I don't like the uncertainty it throws up, which is this debate that me and you literally have on a daily basis. But I still stand by, if those 2 players are not in at Everton, I will not be happy. Thomas Souček is a player I like. I don't have an issue with Thomas Souček, and he scores goals, something we haven't had from midfield. So, again, I don't have an issue with that. But he's not necessarily going to play alongside Garner. He's not necessarily going to be your ball-winning midfielder. He's going to be someone that you put the ball in the box and it'll score a header. Or, you know, he's quite a good footballer in terms of scoring. You know, we saw him score a volley, for example, at Goodison, I think, last season or the season before, where they turned a 1-0 into 2-1. He's a very capable footballer. For 12 million quid, I don't have a problem with it. But I don't think he's the actual answer. I don't think he's the legs we need in midfield, especially at 30 years old. So that's my concerns with the players we're being linked with. We're not being linked with players that I think are better suited to where we need to be. Do you get what I mean?
Well, three things I want to say is, listen, you're quite right. He does pop up with the odd important goal. But when we've got more pressing areas in the team and in the first 11 and in the squad, is he something that we really, really need at this minute? I'll answer my own question for myself. I don't think it is. No, I don't think it is. Point number two I wanted to make before we move on is, I'm not saying that we're not going to get these players and have them in before Leeds. But there's so many times I've reiterated on this channel about new players coming in early in the pre-season. So come the Leeds game, come the Brighton game, we can hit the ground running. And the longer the pre-season goes on, and the longer we haven't got new faces in and around the squad, the longer it takes for them to integrate and to get used to the way we play. We've got to have these players in my opinion. If they're not here, by the time we go to America, they've got to be in, signed while we're still in America, and then they can fly out and get involved in it. It's no good coming home from America and we've got one pre-season game left with Roma and then doing all our business from then up until the end of the transfer window, because that sets you back. In my opinion, you probably lose 10 points over the season doing it like that. That's the way I'm going to look at it. And my third point I wanted to make was what you mentioned before. Players that we're being linked with, not really linked with other with other teams. Yes, McAtee was probably one we were linked with. He's been linked with other clubs. Jack Grealish is now being linked with West Ham. But all the other links, whether it's lazy journalism, whether it's just lazy links and they're just plucking them out the air, not so much worries me that they're not linked with other clubs. But are we feeding off scraps that nobody else wants? Because we can't afford to feed off scraps, because we've done it in years gone by. And listen, it wasn't just down to the group of players that we had. It was down to the poor mismanagement of the club, and it was down to shit managers that we had. But for years now, we've shopped in Aldi, while you've seen everybody else who used to sort of vie for us in the Premier League. Newcastle were, Villa, we were all sort of the same up until Everton struggled for the last couple of years. We all shopped in the same superstore. And now you look at Aston Villa and you look at Newcastle, they've just gone. They've just gone ahead. And that's what worries me. I've said this on videos gone by, and I've said this on seasons gone by. We can't afford to get left behind. And because we need that many bodies in, if we don't start doing business within the next 7 to 10 days, I worry that we are going to get left behind again.
Yeah, and mate, I don't disagree with that. Talking about last night, because I mean, to do a debrief on last night's game is quite difficult because it was a pre-season game. But I've saw some people's heads absolutely flying in the comments, on social media. What's your take on the fact we drew 1-1 last night? Like, what is the... You said to me before we did the match preview, Everton should be going into every game wanting to win. And by the way, I completely agree. But the fact we didn't, how bothered are you?
Not bothered. I'm not bothered, because I'd like to think going into the season, the first game against Leeds will be more fit. David Moyes will hopefully have got some more of his own players in. My head's fell off in pre-seasons gone by when we've put performances in like that, which you should be beating Accrington Stanley. There's no disrespect to them. You should be beating Accrington Stanley if you're a Premier League club. There's no ifs and buts and maybes about it. You should be. But for me, as I'm getting more older and more wiser, it is a fitness thing. But there was positives to take as well. And you mentioned couple of times we've spoke today, you've mentioned the kids who come on the right-hand side. He wasn't on long, but I've seen little clips today. It looks like I missed them last night. I was nodding off towards the end of it, where he sort of flicked it and he was having little flicks and hitting it in front of him and running onto it. He looks a prospect, but he's 16 years of age, so he's got to take time. Probably not going to be in and around the first team squad next season. But then you look at the likes of Harrison Armstrong, who we've known about a couple of seasons now. It looks like he's getting there to be ready to be involved in most match day squads. There was some good positives. You know, I thought Beto, when he come on, Schmidt run the lines well. You should be beating Accrington Stanley, mate. But listen, in hindsight, as each game goes on now, it is going to be against tougher opposition. Blackburn will be a different kettle of fish to Accrington Stanley. Then we fly to America to play 3 Premier League teams. Then you've got the Roma game. So it does build up in quality. But there's no way that my head fell off over the performance last night or the result. I've seen us play a lot worse in pre-season. Believe me, I'm 50 years of age. I've seen some poor pre-season games. So last night wasn't one of them. There was some good performances, and I think probably the reason why my head hasn't fell off so much over it is because I've seen some positives from the younger players, which is only a good thing. So it's pre-season. It's all about fitness. Pick your head back up, put it back on your shoulders, and we go again against Blackburn.
Yeah, look, I mean, the one that did me last season was, and we were both there, was the Coventry game, if you remember, last pre-season. I think, did we lose 4-0 or 3-0 in the end?
I think it was, wasn't
it? It was so bad. And it was awful because I was sitting with Coventry fans, if you remember. And, you know, you're listening to them and they're going, oh, Everton, they're shite. This is a Premier League team. They'll be in the Championship, blah, 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 blah. So, yeah, we've had a couple. I think we also went away to somewhere like Blackpool or Preston and we were 3-0 down. We did a watch-along for it, and me and you. We were something like 2-0 down after 7 minutes or something.
I think that's where my head used to fall off.
Yeah.
Pre-season games. I think I lost it that day on the watch-along, actually.
Yeah, Mad Hatter donated about £3 million that day. Yeah. It's unbelievable. But yeah, I'm not losing my head about it. I'm happy with Clark. I thought he was good. Isaac Heath, I thought he was good. Harrison Armstrong, I think he did a decent job. I thought all the younger lads did a decent job. I thought Mikalenko looked all right. He seems all right. So, look, I want to see a better performance against a better team on Saturday, if I'm being brutally honest. Funny enough, Blackburn and Accrington Stanley have also played in pre-season. They played against each other. So it's almost like the three of us have sort of just grouped together and gone, I'll tell you what, let's just play each other, shall we? Which, is what it is.
Don't get me wrong, just to add my bit before we wrap up, there was some performances from some first team players last night that frustrated me. I thought Alcaraz gave the ball away so many times. Mikalenko was guilty of it in the first half. Again, your favourite player, James Garner, for me, was non-existent against an Accrington Stanley team pre-season or not. There was frustration for me last night with some recognised first team players who play regular compared to the young kids who come in and shone for me more than some of the first teamers.
They took the chances, didn't they, the young kids?
Yeah.
I get the impression with Alcaraz, and look, this isn't a dig at him because he's still young as well. But when he's going into games like that against teams like Accrington Stanley or in the Cup or lower Premier League teams, I get the impression that he thinks he's much better than his opposition. So he takes more time on the ball, he dilly-dallies, he tries to beat a man and then beats him again. And no matter who you play, just play your game, and stop trying to almost show off and come across like the big, I'm fantastic. Because last night, Beto come on that pitch and he absolutely stamped his authority on, the Everton #1 spot in terms of striking. Chimiti did okay. You know, he did all right. There was some decent comments on social media, but Beto had, I'd argue, more intensity. He had more. He just wanted it. He wanted it. You can clearly see Beto feels his position's under threat, and he wants to keep it. I like that.
Well, that brings me on to what I was just going to say about certain players last night, the likes of Mikalenko, who seemed a bit lax to me. Again, I'll mention Charlie Alcaraz, I'll mention James Garner. When you mention them three players that I've just mentioned, they've got no one challenging them for their position in the team. No. So they're not asked. They're going to find it hard to get themselves up against Accrington Stanley anyway, because they've got no one breathing down their neck trying to take their place. And until we do strengthen in them areas, I think you're going to get a lot of lax performances from them sort of players who do think they're a lot better than what the opposition have got to offer, which they are. They are better than their players. But I don't give a shit, mate. You're Everton Football Club. You're playing for the best club in the world, in my opinion. It doesn't matter whether you're playing Accrington Stanley or you're playing Man City. You should be able to get yourself up for every game that you pull that blue shirt on. And if you can't, then we're going to bring players in to breathe down your neck to challenge you for your place in that team. And if you're not pulling up any trees, then you're out. And that's the way it's got to be now.
And that's the way. I like it. Right. I haven't really got anything else to add, to be honest.
No. Quiet, isn't it?
It's quiet. And you know, we're being linked with wingers from like Atletico Madrid, you know, Samu Lino. Realistically, I'd never heard of him until 3 hours ago. You know, and that's not a dig at, you know, that's not a dig at him.
Is it Lino or Lino?
Well, it looks like Lino, and I mean, the last thing we need is an extra Lino at Goodison Park, because they all stitch us up anyway.
Well, I'm not being funny. We don't need a Lino at Goodison Park because we've had enough players who get walked all over.
I see. Yeah, that's it. I see. Whee, that's it. Right, guys, look, get yourself over to Flyers. Link is in the description below. Yeah.
Match preview tomorrow for Blackburn Rovers on Saturday game. Me and Frankie will be at, so if you get going, come over and say hello.
Yeah, I have tried to get tickets as well, but I would be in the Blackburn end, and apparently because I don't have a customer number, I haven't had a customer number for long enough, I'm not allowed a ticket, which is absolutely ridiculous. So if anyone does have some spare Everton tickets for Blackburn.
There was 2 spare going yesterday, but it was with the coach as well, so...
Yeah, I don't need a coach. I don't need a coach. Oh, you have my own wheels. You'll be pleased to know. Right. See you soon, guys. Up the toffees. Keep smiling, and peace.